Hey, Greg. First of all, to look back a little bit at that first half of the season, what do you like about the first half? How did that set you guys up here as you start the second
Yeah.
half? Push it.
So I liked a fair amount of the attacking stuff that we've been able to do, showing our dynamic side, our ability to be dangerous both in our possessions that turn into attacks, but also in our just in our transition play. Sometimes I think that's a great strength of ours, especially when Joe and everybody's healthy. I think our good moments were when we've been inside of our system a little bit more often, and then improvising maybe a little bit less, just in the right moments. And we've been at our worst when we're improvising too much and we're outside of the system a little bit. So I think finding sort of that balance and the maturity in our group to be a little bit more positionally stable at times, to be a little more predictable for one another, to build off of the continuity of the group is just something we want to be more mindful of, I think, as we move to the second half, because that structure is also going to be important for us to manage transitions, and which is an area I think we have to improve upon, which is managing the attacking to defending transition, that we defend better in those moments. And I think just in general too, just if we can tighten up a few things on the defensive side, make sure that we are each fulfilling responsibilities inside of that, make things more predictable for ourselves to recover balls, we'll be more efficient. I think we'll do a better job of protecting our box, our goal, our opportunities. We'll give up less set pieces. We've done a better job of defending set pieces in this latter stretch. That's certainly something that was a problem for us at least in the first half of the season. It was a big problem for us. So I think it's just continuing to get to consistency. This is who we are. This is what we do. Let's be consistent inside of that. And of course, with each opposition, we're going to encounter something slightly different, but let's keep turning the game into our type of game, our tempo, our way of playing. So it's been a good learning experience with each of the guys too. What each guy brings to the team. The guys especially that are new. The best situations and scenarios to use some of those guys, and so we've learned a lot about ourselves and each other. And now this next half of the season is about consistency and about taking points in games that we need to take points at. And again, now this next phase is about not just it's getting to the playoffs, then it's playoff positioning, and it's about being in form as you go into hopefully the playoff scenarios. So now we've just got to really be certain about who we are and how we're going to get results.
But the problem last year was all the goals allowed.
Sure.
I think you said you wanted to cut that close to in half.
Geez,
yeah. How's that process going? You guys are...
Again, I think we've been decent as it usually relates to run of play and all that stuff. I think we've been extra heavy on the goals we've given up on set pieces. So again, I think we've got to tighten up the set piece stuff, but I also think we've got to, as we tighten up some of the other aspects of our defending, we'll give way less of those types of opportunities. I think we've done a good job of defending our box and defending our goal, but I'd like to see us be able to impose ourselves defensively at times a little bit higher up the field more consistently, where we're recovering balls just a little bit higher. Not necessarily always in a high press, but in positions where we can utilize the ball a little bit more in transition moments. And so these are areas that we're looking to kind of tighten up. Sometimes it's been too easy for teams to play through the middle of us, and we've got to not allow teams that space inside and between our lines so easily. We've got to be a little tighter, and that will help us to recover balls, use those in transition. But also it means that we give up less territory sometimes, and we don't have to defend so deep sometimes. So again, finding the balance. It's in the margins in some of these things, and for us, the margins could be the difference of quite a few points when you look at some of these games.
Status of Gaston and Joseph?
Gaston is still kind of return to play recovery mode. He's still feeling sore in the bone bruise. He's able to take little steps forward, and then it's maybe a little step where he has to recover, because it's how the knee reacts to each progression that we're putting kind of in front of him. So we're still working through that process. He's been out on the field, then he takes a day off, and then it's kind of out on the field. Hasn't been fully integrated yet, but we're working towards that. Joe's been fully involved this whole week, and he was in partial training session stuff last week. So he's ready to join the team and be ready to go.
Rob, you can go ahead.
Hey Greg, how are you? Thanks for your time.
Good.
The team's had a
couple departures over the past couple of weeks.
Yep.
What does that do to the depth, and is that in preparation of bringing some reinforcements in? Thank you.
Well, as it relates to departures with Marcus heading over to Australia, it just felt like for him it's a good opportunity to again take a step forward. He's been playing a lot over the last couple of years in G2. Hadn't quite made the jump to the first team, and it was time. You know, I think his contract's probably coming around here pretty soon. It's time for him for a new adventure and a new area or a new place to kind of continue to grow and mature and build his resume as a player. So we're really happy for him. He's found a good place. He actually has an Australian passport, so by going and playing there too, he gets himself in front of their national team potentially. So maybe it's a lot of doors that can open up for Marcus. We're happy for him to do that. With Daniel, it's yeah, I mean, it's a kind of bittersweet with Daniel because Daniel's always been a very solid player for us, a guy that we've used off the bench in multiple positions. He's kind of a jack, we call it jackknife. What do they call it? A Swiss Army knife, jack of all trades. He's just been able to do a lot of good things for us. So we will miss him, but it's another really good opportunity for him. He goes to Chivas, where it's going to be an opportunity potentially for him to even play more. We tried to work something out with him to keep him here, and that started at the beginning of the season. Didn't really come to fruition. Again, he would be out of contract for us in the next 6 months. So this is an opportunity for Daniel to continue to build on his career. And yes, all of these moves open up space for us to consider our moves in the summer.
As it relates to Emilio Garces, I know that he got some time with BCFC the other day. What did you see out of him? And does this signal the start of him being ready for first team action? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We sent him because, quite honestly, he just needs to get some games. He's been here for a couple months now and just hasn't really played a lot of 11v11 because we've had a lot of matches and not a ton of training sessions where the volume has been big and the spaces and the numbers on the field have been big. So, coming out of this break, we just really wanted him to get 11v11 for his fitness, for again, just his continuity and understanding like what we're doing, but functioning in a larger group. I thought he did a lot of things well. He moves beautifully. He's defensively very sound. Likes to get tight and get aggressive. All the things that we talked about. I think as he started to get tired again, I think he started to make a couple lapses in possession with a couple of his passes where maybe fatigue set in, or a combination of again just pressure sometimes coming a little faster. But I thought he was very solid. He's been very good in training. He still needs to get his match fitness up. When he was there and playing, he at about 55 minutes or so, 55 minutes, he said he was really starting to get gassed. Again, combination maybe of a little bit of it being summer months, but also him just needing minutes. But he's been back with us in training this week, and he's going to start getting integrated into our group because we like the things that he brings to our group, and it's different. He's a little bit different than our other center backs, and we want to get him going.
Sophie, you can go ahead.
Hi, Greg.
Hi, Sophie.
It's been a couple of weeks since that disappointing away loss to Chicago. First question, do you think that the 2 weeks came at a good time for you and the squad?
Yeah, I thought we were very poor against Chicago. Again, this was kind of to my comments earlier. I felt like we were very indisciplined about some of our positional play. I thought we were random, unpredictable for one another. And then in the unpredictability of some of our attacks and in positional play, I thought we were defensively not in great positions to transition and defend. Fatigue maybe plays a part of it, but at that point, we need to learn to be more mature and more efficient and more disciplined. And I felt like it became a very random game for us, and in a random game, anybody can win, and it just takes either a couple of mistakes or a couple of situations, and I just thought we weren't very good. So having said that, and a couple of guys that we're trying to get healthy, win them a couple weeks, things like that. The break is not the worst time, that's for sure. But now we've got to try to, after the guys had 5 days away, now you got to just kind of ramp it up again and get back into a rhythm and a flow. And we're right into a busy 3-game week, so we got to do that nice and quick with 2 home games. So we don't have a lot of time to build ourselves into it. We just need to be really ready to go. But the guys are fresh. they appreciated having the days off and are looking forward to getting the second half of the season started.
With two tough games coming up against New York and Salt Lake, do you feel like at home against Sporting Kansas, who you can never take for granted, even with their poor form and 9
Sure.
losses, do you feel like this is a absolutely no excuse must-win game for you? And thanks, Greg.
Yeah, I think these 2 home games are important for us. I think all of our home games are. We've been solid at home. I think we need to continue that. There's 17 games in the season, so I don't know if anything is like we're at that point of must win, but I do think that our mentality is that we must win at home. We've got to play at home and we've got to take care of teams that are typically on the lower half of the tables. That's one of the disappointing things in Chicago, of not putting a performance together there, even though it's a tough third match day fixture of a week and being away. We still got to perform and try to take something out of that game. Same with Kansas City. We've got to come. We've got to show our presence and dominance here at home, and we've got to start this week off in a positive way, and then we'll deal with whatever New York and Salt Lake next. But our focus is totally on Kansas City, and look, Kansas City isn't a team that we've had a ton of success with over the years anywhere, and so we just need to not look past them for anything and make sure that this is our focus, and playing at home, these points are critical.
Thank you.
Last one goes to Alex. Go ahead, Alex.
Hey Greg, thank you so much for your time. Right before the break, we had Ricky Puig, I think, scoring 3 goals in the 3 games before the break. Just how important has he been for your squad so far? And also, where do you want to see him evolve his game as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Ricky's he's a special player. The thing that Ricky brings to our group, aside from just his qualities, is he's the guy on the field who really changes the speed of the game. He'll pick up the ball, he'll play through the lines, and then we go sometimes from being in a possession to being in an attack instantly, and a lot of that is done through Ricky. He also touches the ball probably as much or more than anyone on the field for us, and so he always has an imprint and an influence on the game, especially on that attacking side. So I think that's the importance that he brings, and he's been able to turn some of those situations into not just good attacks, but goals and assists for himself, and he's getting other guys involved, and so he certainly has proven his worth in that space. How do I want to see Ricky's game involved? I think it's a couple things. I'd like to see him touch the ball a little higher sometimes. It's sometimes being a little more patient, and us finding him and us getting him the ball, and him being a patient for us to get him the ball sometimes in a little bit higher space where he's able to attack the back line, because I think he would be virtually unstoppable in some of those situations. But I understand why he comes down and gets the ball and why that's important. But I think there are times when we can also just get him the ball higher and he can work against the back line a little bit more. And the only other thing, and we've talked about it, is just finding the moments of when to take risk and really try to get the team going, and when sometimes to just build some rhythm inside of the group and the team, so that we have the balance between attacking fast and also being in just controlling games and controlling situations. He's so eager, and that's part of his goal, to be fair. He's so eager to want to turn the possession into an attack. Sometimes I think we can find a balance in between how fast to attack and sometimes just flowing and letting the opposition get out of position a little bit more, and then taking those opportunities. But that's coming. That's part of Ricky's continued sort of maturity as a player, and I think he'll create more chances and get more chances when we as a group and him can continue to find that right balance between what is a possession moment where we're just trying to unbalance the opposition, and what is the moment where we're actually really trying to destabilize, go and really create an attack out of it. And so, but I mean, his uniqueness is special for our group, and it's really kind of what catapults our team forward in many ways.